1941, I saw what they had gone through. I visited the devastated areas in London, and somebody said to me, "You're certainly seen this city at its worst." I said, "Yes, I'm seeing the city at its worst and the people at their best." Because there was no sign of fear in spite of what the people had gone through. And I was told stories, many stories, of when death and devastation rained down from the skies, how the people arose out of the debris very often, knowing that their near and dear ones were lying lost to them forever beneath that heap of steel and masonry and brick, yet arising to face life and to face the battle for freedom, to face the enemy, and to take part once more in the battle for freedom. And I never heard, throughout the whole of England or Scotland, I never heard one whimper, one complaint, one sign of shrinking courage. Rather the contrary. The people were grandest in their greatest hour, the hour of suffering and endurance and of work and more work. And when I heard of people going from the ruins of their homes to take up their daily task, well, it was an inspiration that went right through the whole, not only of the British Empire, but of the United Nations. And stand against an efficient, well-equipped force that, in addition to its mechanism, has the spirit of freedom and deliverance animating the breast of those who are operating it and those who are fighting. I and my colleague who represents Australia, and when the story is told of how Australia rallied to meet the Japanese and of the fighting in the difficult jungles of the Pacific Islands, then there'll be no finer story in the scroll of history. But we follow today. And in the meantime, Canada and Australia and South Africa and New Zealand have come to full nationhood, and the bonds are no heavier than they were then, still lighter there, but still as strong as the strongest steel. It required no appeal from the mother country when the hour finally came to take a stand for freedom. All the dominions, as early as possible, came into the fray beside the mother country. It fell to New Zealand because of the presence of our cabinet, because of various circumstances. As we waited there in the cabinet room in Wellington, some hoping against hope that war would not be declared. But when the word did come that the United Kingdom was at war, then within 3 minutes, New Zealand was at war also beside the mother country. The end would be, we felt it would be victory. We knew there was a possibility of defeat. Today we have no doubt at all. It is only a question of when the victory will come. And if setbacks should happen, if it should occur that all our program of victory is not carried out as quickly as possible, Then once more, fortitude and the courage and the determination that marked the people of Britain and has inspired us in the Dominion, that will be again mustered. It is never weakened. It will be brought forward again in even greater intensity and help the world onwards towards freedom and salvation. I have no time to deal with New Zealand's war effort. It is known to everybody. But let me give one or two instances just to show. Anthony had written the letter on the way from Basra. He had reached Messamatru when Rommel was sweeping right into it. Now, in conclusion, my thoughts go to our other comrades of the United Nations, to Greece, a nation that welcomed our men, the men of the British Commonwealth, welcomed them in the most hospitable manner, and when they went away, still heaped presents upon them. Yugoslavia, and I hope these countries that have fought so well and are still fighting so well, I hope that unity will prevail and that ultimately the people will decide the form of government after the enemy is defeated. The position now is unity and more unity and better fighting. Norway, that has endured its crucifixion so well, Denmark and Holland and Belgium, all of them courageous and unyielding, and France. One of our officers, whom I saw on Saturday, told me the story of his adventures coming through France and how the people of all classes and religions and politics rallied round and helped and are helping our men passing through France, helping those who have escaped from the prison camp. When I heard the simple story of how men were risking their men and women, risking their lives for strangers when they knew they were British, when they knew they could trust them, and feeling that they were helping the common cause when doing it, I felt that France may be prostrate, but her heart and spirit is not subdued, and she will rise triumphant and be once more the great power for liberty. And off the coast of Newfoundland in 1941 was signed a document signed by the great President of the United States. For everybody will agree, even political opponents, that President Roosevelt is a great man and a great friend. There, and the declaration has been adhered to, and the pledge and the faith has been kept. This country, or the British Commonwealth of Nations, was not out for aggrandizement, not out for territory, not out to trample anybody else underfoot, but rather to uplift mankind by overthrowing the tyrant enemy that threatened us. That declaration, containing the four freedoms: freedom from fear, freedom from want, freedom of religion, and freedom of expression. That is the declaration, that is the message that has inspired the hearts of tens and hundreds of thousands, many of whom have laid down their lives, sacrificed, so that these freedoms can be enshrined in the hearts of men and in the operations of mankind. And that charter today is still what the United Nations are fighting for. And never has there been any deviation, never any reducing of the objective, but on the contrary, freedom from fear and freedom from the devastating threat and hell of want that is still emblazoned on our banners. We will go forward